Welcome to Mojo at the Movies. I'm Eric, and joining me today is our esteemed director, Manny. How you doing?
Very good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. We should mention that if you like these kind of discussions, make sure to subscribe to MojoTalks, because there's plenty more where that came from. But let's get right to the movie. Last night, we went to go see
Pacific Rim 2, Uprising.
Uprising. Not Downrising, Uprising.
Cadets, you better gear up.
So the big question that we're asking here is, does it live up to the original Pacific Rim? Manny, you were a fan of the first one?
I love the first one. I love Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like from the first one was Charlie Hunnam.
Oh yeah, okay. I thought you were going to say Charlie Day. Charlie Day.
No,
was great.
Charlie Day is awesome. He's the best in everything.
I myself loved the first one as well. I had high hopes for this. And then I realized that Del Toro is involved simply as like a producer, like in name only.
In name only.
Yeah.
I feel like when you walk into this movie right away, you notice that it is
Not
a Del Toro movie.
Not at all.
100%. And that you get literally just by the way the first movie, just in the first 5 minutes. 'Cause they give you like I feel like this movie is like kind of a soft reboot.
Yeah.
But they're keeping what happened in the first one in the continuity,
Right,
in the
exactly.
realm. So they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, all these things happen. Look, all these things happen.
Del
Kaijus
Toro
are
made a
thing.
movie.
Yeah, Del Toro made a movie.
And we're running with it.
Kaijus are a thing.
Right.
You know, like Jaegers are a thing. All that's still all here. So like, but it's different and it's new.
How'd they get into our world?
Someone let them in. Someone from our world.
Well, let's just throw it out there. You liked it.
I thought
didn't
it was
like
a great time at the movies.
Yeah,
You,
I hated
when
it.
we walked out, you were a bit.
Eesh. Directed by Stephen S. DeKnight, who's known mostly for Spartacus, like mostly TV stuff, and season 1 of Daredevil on Netflix.
Yeah, which he did a great job on.
Yeah.
No way is this guy an inferior director to Del Toro. I think he's great.
You don't think he's inferior to Del Toro?
In this movie, probably. But as a
That's
director,
a hot take. That is
as
a hot
director,
take.
I think he's good. I mean, his stuff is solid. His episodes of Spartacus were fun. His episodes of Daredevil were fun.
Yeah, but you compare that to Pan's Labyrinth or Hellboy? I mean, you know, we're really.
But
this
also
is apples
different
and
styles.
oranges.
Different styles.
Fair enough.
Let's different styles.
Okay, fair enough. We'll agree to disagree, but I'm right. Okay, so starring John Boyega, who plays Jake Pentecost. Great name, not as great as his father, played in the first movie by Idris Elba. You have Scott Eastwood as well. Charlie Day is back, and a lot of big-name Chinese actors who kind of have bit parts in this movie.
One of my favorite new additions was Kaylee Spaney. I'm saying that terribly, but
the young girl.
the young girl in the movie. I thought she was really fun. I thought she brought like a cool little badass characteristic to her person. You know, personality-wise, it was fun. The way she interacted with John Boyega, I thought was really cool.
See, I didn't think he was like I like Finn, but I just thought right off the bat this movie the dialogue is supposed to be all like zan zan zan. And it ends up being clunky and not flowing well. Like to me, as soon as I walked in, like you said, this is clear. It's not the same movie. It's not the same team.
Yeah, but I think I was more expecting it to be a lot different from the first one, just because I'm like, okay, so none of the original people are involved, only in name. So I guess maybe, you know, like whatever. We'll see how this goes. That's my new attitude walking into movies. With all the stuff we've seen and a lot of the disappointment I've experienced, or meh, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go in. I was going to eat my popcorn, but you ate it all. So, you know,
That's true. Okay,
that's
fine.
fine.
Fair enough. Okay, let's get to the meat here. The Kaijus and the Jaegers.
Yeah.
My biggest problem is that, for example, in the first one, you really felt the heft of these creatures. I was in awe when I watched the first one, because you can feel their heft, you can smell the engine grease, you can feel the twisting, the steel twisting, and yet in this one everything was just so light and fluffy and CGI, and it felt more like a Transformers movie than it did a tribute to the old Kaiju movies.
Actually, Dan, one of our hosts from Mojo Plays, when I spoke to him about the movie, he told me that the first movie had this overluring sense of danger all the time.
Absolutely.
That there was always a risk that
Stakes
no
were
one will
high.
say stakes were high. In this movie, it's kind of like they took care of that in the first movie. And in this one, they're all like, yeah, there's no more. It's kind of like just a training. Everybody's here. We're training. We're kind of doing our thing. There's no danger, and when the moments come up where it's kind of dangerous, these characters have been so nonchalant the whole movie. So when shit hits the fan, it's kind of like, okay, they're most likely going to take care of it. Also, we've been watching this movie for an hour, so it's not going to be like.
But it's just like, when they're trampling through the cities or when they're falling into the buildings. In the first one, that's exactly it. I got that sense of danger. There's people who are suffering. There's people in danger.
Yeah.
This was just, I guess, indicative of a lot of these giant monster or superhero movies of today, where the collateral damage is just an afterthought, and the screaming people like is
and
not.
I think that speaks to Del Toro's directing style, is that he understands the monster movie, and he understands when you walk into one of these movies as a cinema goer, you want to feel that danger, and he depicts that perfectly.
Yeah.
Where I think other directors kind of don't get that, and they kind of want to give you a visual spectacle. I mean, the fights in this movie are super cool. The hero shots of the Jaegers make sense. How they intercut the pilots working with the Jaegers.
That I always liked.
That was really awesome. But again, I agree with you and I agree with Dan, that sense of danger is not there in this movie. Is it a fun movie? Are you gonna walk into this movie and be like, yeah, I was entertained. Like I could have went drinking and got hammered, but I saw this movie and I'm content with my decision. It's a fun time at the movies.
I'd rather get hammered than see this movie. And just to speak to your point about Del Toro, you feel his reverence for monster movies in that first one, and everything. I mean, even The Shape of Water, is a tribute to a creature from the Black Lagoon. There's a reverence for what came before, whereas this movie to me feels more like a mix of Transformers and Fast and Furious. It's quick, disposable dialogue. The monsters move in such a way that you don't feel like you're watching something that could literally come and crush you. There's a distance between you and the action. And I never understood why I didn't like Transformers movies, because on paper it's great, big, huge robots that are fighting each other, and crushing things in the city. But something about it, it's like there's a compression. There's a certain sense that it's not surreal. It's not real. It's also fake. And the first one had a little bit more reality grounded in there. This one is it's just pure fantasy without any stakes.
Yeah, I find the stakes are missing in this movie. They build it up. It's kind of like a soft reboot. I feel that they kind of want to wrap up this trilogy and do all three of them. Maybe it'll do good at the box office. Maybe it won't. Is it fun? Yeah. Would I tell our viewers everybody's got to rush out and go see Pacific Rim? You're at the theater. You want to see it. Skip the 3D. You'll get sick.
Might as well sneak in to see this after you've seen another movie.
Man, not that terrible. It's still kind of worth it. You're being a little tough there, Mr. Cohen.
We need to, a little tough love is important. Okay, quickly, Charlie Day. Everybody loves Charlie Day. He brings.
I feel like he's like, the studio walked up to him and said, "Hey, come into Pacific Rim 2." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm not really 100% on this. Maybe not." Because him and the girl who was Charlie Hunnam's co-pilot in the first one, they're the only two, and one other scientist to come back from the first one. And I feel like all of them kind of came back as like, yeah, sure, we'll come on. It's the sequel.
How much you paying us?
How much you paying us? And we're kind of going to take these characters in the direction we want. And I think that's how Charlie Day approached this movie. He was fun as always. He's always great to watch. He's
a little bit more over the top than
a little bit more over the top.
But that's
he kind of falls into that supervillain category in this one. So
and it'll be interesting to see what happens next, because clearly there's another one coming.
Yeah, they set it up for a sequel. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe it'll be the return. I don't think Del Toro's coming back to this.
I don't think he's coming back. I think he's content with just getting his check in the mail, and he's like, yeah. Thanks for my Pacific Rim money, and I'm cool, I'm out.
What do we do?
Y'all remember me? We fight! Those on top of me.
So for once, you and I disagree. Let us know what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with Manny? Or do you not care at all? Either way, make sure to subscribe to Mojo Talks, because we have plenty more discussions like this. And we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks, Manny.